Hello, I'm Isabel, and you're watching Wooley Plays, back again with another Stephanie Thompson video.
Honestly, I'm not the type to post a video of me crying or something like that. At least I try not to be. But I just got to this church driven community center, clothing, thrift store, food pantry. Y'all, there's 60 cars lined up for this mobile food pantry. And it just kind of broke my heart because there's already such a need for food assistance in lower income families, and to just strip what they have for assistance is fucking just so. You lack humanness, bro. You're such a fucking rotten human. And I'm not even crying about myself because we'll figure it out, and I feel fucking blessed that we're in a position where we can. But it was literally us less than a fucking year and a half ago, and all these families, bro. This fucking country. I have to hope and pray that, the worse that it gets, our country will become just as united, the civilians, as other countries manage to do, because that's the only way we're all going to survive this shit. That's the only reason why people do survive in their fucking war zones, is because they unite as the civilians. And we all have our fingers up to each other fucking constantly for what? Gather your shit, y'all. We need each other.
We have to talk about the resilient Jenkins and Stephanie literally crashing out over food stamps. So Stephanie's at a food bank crying her eyes out. And you know why? It's because she's no longer getting free money from the states to pay for all of her groceries. Newsflash, Stephanie. A lot of us on TikTok don't get assistance. When you are making over $10,000 a month, there is no reason for you to be on assistance, let alone at a church or a food bank.
Girl, real quick before we get into the video, tell me where you watching from and what time is it there? I really want to know. Drop it in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe with notifications now. We have to talk about Stephanie in the church parking lot because, oof, it's a lot. Okay, so let me set the scene for you. Stephanie, yes, that Stephanie was caught on video crying in the parking lot of a church/food bank. And honestly, at first you're like, okay, girl, what's going on? But then you hear the details and it's like, wait, what? So apparently Stephanie and Drew were previously getting EBT, SNAP benefits basically, but they're not anymore. Why? Because apparently their TikTok income made them too rich for the state to continue helping. And here's where things start to get wild. The other day, Drew went live and he straight up admitted that they spend plenty, like I'm talking every 3 to 4 days, on what he called grass or the devil's lettuce.
No, I haven't smoked in about 3 or 4 hours. Quitting tree. No, we don't buy wraps or anything. So we smoke out of a glass bong that I've had for a long time. So I don't spend any money on wraps, and we spend we buy the cheapest, the lowest, whatever you want to call it, and so $30 lasts us 3 or 4 days maybe. But I probably shouldn't have told you guys that, but news to the crowd. Hey, it's just like coffee. I mean that's how I see it, and I don't. Hey, go ahead and do go $8 times 30 and see how much that is. Can someone do that for me? Can someone go $8 times 30 days and see how much that is for me real quick? 240. That's how much people spend on coffee a month. It's 240. What's the? There are people that spend $8 on coffee daily. It's not. I'm not saying it's you guys in chat. I'm not saying it's you guys in chat. Hold on a second.
You already know what that means. So let me get this straight. You're buying that every few days, but somehow you can't buy clothes for your kids. You can't buy food without state help, yet y'all are raking in $20,000 a month off TikTok alone. And that's not even counting other platforms. Girl, that math does not add up. And then here's the kicker. Stephanie is out here crying about losing SNAP benefits, which, don't get me wrong, losing that help would suck. But there are real families who work hard and still need that assistance, and they don't get it. So seeing her cry about it while spending hundreds on substances, I cannot. Now, there's a rumor going around, Monty's mama mentioned it, that some folks think Stephanie might be pregnant again. People are saying that this whole food bank crying scene could be her hormones acting up in early pregnancy. They even think she did something similar when she was pregnant with baby Manova. I can't fully confirm it, but people are noticing patterns.
First things first does have to do with this video though. Monty's mama brought up the fact that this video was a huge tell that she and a bunch of other people, this is not just her, think that Stephanie is pregnant again. Yeah. They believe that this whole food pantry car crash out is because she is hormonal and in the beginning of a pregnancy, and I guess did something similar when she was in the beginning of her pregnancy with baby Manova. I don't really know. I don't really remember. But Stephanie doesn't normally come to the internet crying and being overly emotional, so it is interesting. They also think Drew taking them all out to get cookies was very random, especially since he's so paranoid with money. So that was another tell that they think that she is pregnant. They also brought up the fact that Drew is currently in active addiction, which they didn't confirm what he is actively addicted to, but I'm gonna guess it is not the natural things that they come online and say that they're doing. So the people that are in my comment section and other people's comment section saying that they are doing math, you're probably right. I'm not really sure.
Another little detail. Drew took the kids out to get cookies, which sounds sweet until you remember he's known to be super tight with money. So for people watching that little random act, raised eyebrows, maybe there's a pregnancy in the mix. And then, oh boy, Drew is reportedly in active addiction. Now, they didn't specify exactly what, but let's be real, it's probably more than just the stuff he openly talks about online. Some people in the comment sections of different creators are guessing the math, and honestly, they might be onto something. Active addiction usually points to something more hardcore than casual stuff. Here's what makes it even more frustrating. On a live, Drew said he takes his sobriety seriously. And girl, you're spending $30 every few days on the natural stuff, but then there's the other things, meaning they're probably blowing close to $1,000 a month just on substances. And yet, here's Stephanie crying about losing SNAP. I cannot.
But when you say active addiction, it's normally something way more hardcore. And I guess Arlita has confirmed this or has said it without saying it. She has not explicitly come out and said it because she doesn't want to disrespect Drew's mother and sister, who she knows, but she has essentially said it without saying it, and so has Drew's sister. So this is confirmed. It's just interesting to hear this being confirmed because two things. Just the other day on his live, he said that he takes his sobriety very seriously. Why are you lying, dude? You didn't even have to bring that up. And second of all, he said that they spend $30 every couple of days on flour, the natural stuff, which, okay, that can be true, but you're also spending it on something else, which means you're probably spending upwards of probably close to $1,000 just on substances. But that's about all I wanted to talk about. There was so much more that they said in this live, but this video is already getting long. I don't want to make it any longer, but I am dying to know what you think, especially about Stephanie being pregnant again. What do you think about that? What do you think about Drew and his active addiction issues? Please let me know.
Okay, so that's the general tea on Drew and Stephanie's spending habits, but let's pivot a little. Recently, Stephanie posted 4 videos, and it looks like she's trying to turn herself around. Let's talk about the first one, the crying video at the thrift store / food pantry run by a church. She's crying, yes, but she's saying she's upset for the other families. She's trying to frame it as empathy because she's been in that position before. And she's like, I feel blessed that we're in a position to help ourselves now. And okay, credit where credit's due. For a brief moment, it seems like she's showing a heart. Then her next 2 videos are basically TikTok shop promos. Nothing too scandalous except a funny little mix-up. She's offering her daughters a peanut butter that has wheat in it. People misheard it as weed, so the comments blew up. Nope, it's just wheat, girls. Just wheat. Don't come for her over that. The last of the 4 videos, she's taking her kids somewhere. Finally. They went to a pumpkin patch, something normal kids do, and yes, there's some controversy because she was the only parent who went, and somehow they managed 6 kids in a 5-seater car. I cannot. But at least she did it. Okay? Progress.
It breaks my heart too, Stephanie, because you have no business in that line. First of all, I'm sick and don't feel like fucking with you, but here we are. You and Drew, mainly you, because I've listened to Drew and he's somewhat sensible. I'm not going to say he has his head on his shoulders, but I think he's somewhat sensible, more sensible than you. Stephanie, do you ever stop and listen to yourself? You're talking about how y'all can do everything and y'all are so blessed, but why are you in that line? Why are you taking away from other people that truly need it if you're so blessed? Not to mention, Drew has already said in a live that y'all spend $30 every couple days on gardening. Stephanie, that is your grocery budget right there. Also, the fact if you would stop gardening, you wouldn't need thousands of dollars worth of spices every single month like onion powder and garlic salt. You have literally wrecked those kids' taste buds. What am I talking about? You have wrecked their lives. I mean, at this point, what's a little garlic salt and onion powder going to hurt them? Girl.
Before that, she even did a cute movie night with snacks for the kids. She had to hide it from Drew because apparently spending money on the kids makes him mad. And girl, it was wholesome. So it's like, okay, maybe Stephanie's trying slightly. But then the reality check hits. Drew admitted on live that they spend $30 every couple of days on gardening. You heard me right. Gardening. That's like $450 a month if we're being generous. And here's the kicker. They live in a one-bedroom motel with multiple kids. The kids are probably smelling the gardening habits when they go to school. And I cannot stop thinking about that. Like $450 a month on something that's not your kids when you can't even take them to urban air. Remember that plan Stephanie made? Over a year saving to take the kids for a birthday trip? Never happened. Meanwhile, thousands spent on gardening and who knows what else. I can't. And girl, the hypocrisy is insane. Stephanie crying about losing government assistance while actively spending hundreds on substances and hobbies. It's a whole mood of frustration. They're living in a motel, hoarding kitchen gadgets, blowing money on things that don't even benefit the kids, and yet want sympathy for not getting SNAP benefits.
Y'all seriously needed to get it together. The thing about the government assistance is talking about able-bodied adults that refuse to work, like yourself. You know, you have tried to play on the heartstrings of every single community, whether it be the autistic community, the homeless community, the interracial couple community, the single moms community. Now you're trying to play on the ones that need the government assistance. Girl, be so for real right now. Please be so for real. And you wonder why no one will support you. It's for reasons like this right here, Stephanie. You've got to get yourself together. There are so many more things out there that you could be worried about, yet you're worried about why people's lined up for government assistance. Girl, sometimes I wonder about you. I do. Sometimes I wonder about you. Girl, please, be so for real right now. Where's the money at too, Steph? Where's the money? You got paid on the 15th and the 21st. The 21st in the Book of Faces. Where's your money? Why are you in that line?
Be so for real. And the part that really gets me is that Drew is king daddy in this scenario. He's out here justifying his spending habits, saying $30 every few days is fine. And you know what? That's literally the grocery budget for these kids. It's wild. It's infuriating. And honestly, it breaks your heart for the children. People have been debating about Deshawn and Desiree, like whether he should be living with his mom. And honestly, after seeing how Drew and Stephanie are operating, how can anyone think going to his mom is worse? Like, come on, their priorities are completely skewed. Stephanie and Drew aren't trying to get out of the motel. They're content with their lifestyle. They love gardening, cleaning, TikTok, substances, all of it. The kids, not a priority. Never have been. And that's the frustrating part of watching this unfold.
Well, look at this brand deal. Give me all the brand deals. Finally got a brand deal. Shame on Chalkbox if they sent her that product for free. Shame on you. You are platforming a child exploiter and a loser that is a horrible human being. And if she bought it herself to promo, why the hell would you post that video? You want to know why you don't get brand deals? That is exactly why. That was horrible. The eye cream is one thing. I think that's just comical. Like, no one's going to buy eye cream for this hag. No. But the Chalkbox one made me mad because not only can you not sell, you're exploiting your children to try to sell, and you're still bad at it. Not to mention in the beginning of the video, she says she's going to have the girls try it, and then she says, I might try it even though it contains wheat. And she says it fast, and it sounds like she says the gardening substance. To which 2 seconds later, Addie goes, oh, there's gardening substance in it? And she leaves that in. Do you watch your shit before you post it? Because you edited it. Because you cut whatever was out right after that out, which was probably you telling her, no, that's not what's in it. So why did you leave that in?
The takeaway, there's a real disconnect between their public persona and the reality. They're showing sympathy, yes, and maybe trying to give their kids experiences here and there, but the priorities, totally off. And when you combine that with their admitted spending, The crying about SNAP benefits comes off, well, hypocritical at best. Stephanie Jenkins burst onto TikTok as this self-proclaimed resilient mom, sharing unfiltered glimpses into her life with 5 young kids. She's got this vibe of tough love and survival mode, filming everything from daily routines to emotional breakdowns right there in their cramped Crown motel room. Yeah, you heard that right. A motel room serving as home base for a family of 7, including her partner, Drew Jenkins. It's not some glamorous van life adventure. It's a single space where they eat, sleep, cook, and apparently film nonstop for views. And while Stephanie positions herself as this unbreakable force, the cracks are showing big time.
And then you leave them in eating it and facing that they don't like it and whatever. Brands don't want that as promotion. Are you insane? Yes, you are insane. But I need somebody to help me. I've been hunting and hunting and hunting. And if anybody can link me the post or the Reddit or whatever, where it has been said before, where she said specifically, I don't like showing my kids on camera eating, or I'm not going to show my kids eating whatever it was that she was doing, because that's weird. But shows this every other fucking day, the same shit of her giving her kids food. And if anyone can find the other thing I'm looking for, it was a video where she was saying that, like breastfeeding uncovered in public is inappropriate and stuff, and like I think it was something about men and whatever. But then post herself breastfeeding. Right. Because I don't have time today, I'm tired, but I'm going to be making a longer video looking at a lot of her content and just how exploitative it goes. Because I don't think a lot of people realize or understand, or maybe they don't see it as exploitation when it is, and whatever. But this just needs to stop. It's gone on too long. It's enough. Bye now.
Her parenting style? Chaotic at best, unfiltered to a fault, and sometimes veering into territory that has viewers screaming for intervention. We're talking concerns over hygiene that make you cringe, nutrition choices that raise eyebrows, education that's seemingly on the back burner, and emotional well-being that feels neglected in favor of the next viral clip. But here's where it gets really wild. Instead of channeling her energy into stabilizing things, like landing a steady job, securing proper housing, or prioritizing her kids' health, Stephanie's been caught up in some truly bizarre priorities.
$30 lasts us like 3 or 4 days, maybe.
Your 5 kids are homeless with you, living in a motel room, and you're wasting $30 every 3 to 4 days on gardening? What is wrong with you? Why are your kids never the priority? Never once. We have never seen Drew or Stephanie make their children a priority. They're always the priority. They're always buying silly things for themselves. She's got a million kitchen gadgets. They're spending thousands of dollars on gardening for themselves. Why do you think that's okay? Why is CPS not stepped in? And also, let's touch on Deshawn and Desiree, which is Deshawn's mother. A lot of people seem to be very against Deshawn going to live with his mom. Listen, how could it be worse? And people are like, well, CPS would just give her son back, like if she was fit to have him. Yeah, but not really, because they're saying that Drew's not unfit somehow. I don't know how he's not unfit. But ultimately, they have shared joint custody. And there's no legal implications of why his dad can't have custody, which is crazy. But I don't know, for some reason, CPS doesn't have an issue with the Jenkins. I don't know how, but apparently they don't.
Take her recent rant about Botox, for instance. I kid you not, this woman went on a full-blown tangent about her forehead wrinkles, saying if she could swing it, that's the first thing she'd fix. She's describing how her face gets stuck in these expressions of annoyance or surprise, like her forehead is flexing on its own accord, and she's literally begging it to calm down. She even demonstrated it, pulling faces and laughing about how Drew noticed it a year ago, teasing her like, babe, what's going on up there? Now look, self-care is important. I'm all for feeling good in your skin, but when you're juggling 5 kids in a motel with no consistent income or long-term plan, obsessing over cosmetic tweaks feels like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It's not just tone deaf, it's a glaring sign that something's off in the priority department. Viewers online are whispering about possible substance use influencing these thoughts, because who fixates on aesthetics when the basics like shelter and safety are hanging by a thread? It's heartbreaking, really, because those kids deserve a mom whose headspace is locked on their needs, not her reflection.
My favorite thing about Stephanie Jenkins is that she's trying to sell something on TikTok, but nobody is buying it. This right here is her little advertisement of this, I don't know, serum, body lotion, who knows. But you know what people are commenting? People are dragging her, literally dragging her like a wagon, saying that they would not buy any product that she recommends, not even if it was water. And the person was on fire. That's what one commenter said. Basically was like, I wouldn't buy anything from Stephanie Jenkins, even if I was on fire and she was selling water for a discounted price. Somebody else was like, even if I was in the desert, I would not drink any water. I would not buy it. I do not need anything from her. She cannot sell ice to an Eskimo. Like, it is pretty funny. Just, I think because she had said something along the lines that nobody wants to partner up with her. Other brands do not want to endorse her because of her lifestyle. So we're calling not wanting to work a lifestyle, but okay. And neglecting your children and lifestyle, I guess, right? Every person has somebody to represent them, I guess. But what do you think? Are you gonna buy any products from her? Because her skin be looking like 10 years older. It's giving time forward.
And speaking of reflections, let's shift gears to Stephanie's ongoing obsession with Drew. This guy has a track record that's messier than a toddler's art project. Cheating scandals that rocked their relationship, financial fumbles that left them scrambling, and co-parenting drama with exes like Arlita and Desiree that's straight out of a soap opera. Yet Stephanie's out here posting screenshots from alleged girls sliding into his DMs, acting like Drew's some hot commodity with a nationwide fan club hunting him down. She's ranting about how she won't leave him, that it's their journey, not the internet's to dictate, and reminding everyone to remember y'all's place. She even shared how they've never had a single kid-free date since getting together, how plans fell through last minute and how they've pushed through despite the chaos. It's like she's defending a prize that's tarnished beyond recognition.
Stephanie kept chiming in the background saying, well, we're really not ashamed about it. Well, Mama, you should be. You should be. With your situation right now, you should be saving every single dime to get out of the motel room or spending it on your kids. You and Drew spend no money on your children, and it just sucks. Like I said before, I'm not against parents smoking tree. That's not the issue here. Like, if you have the extra money to do it, by all means, do it. But to be spending that much money every single month and still sitting in a motel room and also using government benefits, like, you people make me sick. But Drew really screwed himself over by saying that on live. He really thinks that his words can't be used against him, but him and Arlita just had a court date recently, and because he claims he spends so much on Tree every single month, the judge upped his child support payments significantly. They literally use his own words against him because previously he said he can't pay child support because he doesn't make enough money. Well, clearly you do.
Drew's not TikTok's dreamboat. He's been dragged through the mud for infidelity and poor decisions. So why the paranoia? Maybe it's insecurity bubbling up from past scandals, or perhaps it's deflection from the real crises at home. But the real gut punch is this. While she's policing Drew's inbox, her kids are dealing with custody battles, financial freefalls, and daily instability. Her actual toddlers need that energy more than monitoring phantom admirers. It's a contradiction that screams misplaced focus, and it's leaving everyone wondering if the relationship is more anchor than lifeline. Now, let's talk about the medical flip-flop that's got the internet in a frenzy.
In another episode of Stephanie is Inept, Rambling, and High, we see that she finally took the baby to the doctor, which is a good thing. That's a good thing, to the eye doctor. However, she broke the law by driving on what I believe is a suspended license, and she broke HIPAA by telling us that she took her to the eye doctor. I guess she doesn't care about HIPAA anymore. Have you ever noticed that every time she says, I'm not going to speak on that subject any further? She always does. That's how we know she's going to speak on it further, actually. But what I'm really wondering is how much her and the baby must have smelled like weed. This girl only does laundry like once a month. Their clothes, the kids' clothes, everybody's clothes must just reek of weed. I wonder what the doctor thought. I wonder what the staff there thought. I mean, she's got to smell. I don't know, Steph. You need to wash clothes more often. And definitely don't go to the doctor smelling like weed. It's not a good look.
Just a few months back, Stephanie was all about holistic remedies, dismissing modern medicine like it was yesterday's trend. She brushed off concerns about her daughter's crossed eyes, saying it's none of our business and that she'd handle it privately. She even cited HIPAA laws as a reason not to share details, emphasizing that her kids' medical stuff was off limits. Fast forward to now, and suddenly every doctor's visit is a vlog extravaganza. She's detailing 2-hour phone calls with pediatricians, taking us along for checkups, and posting updates like it's a reality show episode. Why the 180? Public backlash. Plain and simple. After getting roasted online for allegedly neglecting routine care, rumors even swirled that the kids hadn't seen a doctor since 2021. She's now overcompensating to prove she's on top of it. But it rings hollow, like damage control rather than genuine responsibility. If she'd been proactive all along, there'd be no need for this performative parade. Like, viewers are calling it out as suspicious, and honestly, it raises questions about whether those earlier dismissals were just excuses to avoid scrutiny. The kids' health shouldn't be a reaction to comments. It should be priority one, camera or no camera.
If there's one thing I feel like I know how to do is make a struggle meal. I like to go through, see what I have, gather some ingredients, and then challenge myself to make something out of it. So I grabbed an onion, I grabbed this bell pepper that's barely hanging on, some rice, some eggs, some chicken bouillon. You know the lady I'm talking about? Every time I say chicken bouillon, I cannot say it normal now. Thank you. And did I say eggs? Anyways, I grabbed some eggs, some ground beef, some beans. This is definitely going to be a high protein meal. And I will say that I pretty heavily seasoned this because I felt like if I didn't season it just correct, there's just no way my kids were about to eat this. I feel like up to this point I've kind of like semi-spoiled my kids. I don't feel it's spoiled. Like, if they don't like the dinner that we've made, we usually offer them another choice. We don't just be like, you're going to go hungry. No, we don't do that 90 shit.
Shifting to the kitchen chaos because, oh boy, does this highlight the everyday struggles in stark relief. Stephanie's latest cooking video wasn't about fresh meals. It was a leftover reheating session that had everyone side-eyeing hard. We're talking Sri Lankan food Drew brought home from gig work, sitting in the fridge for nearly a week, mixed with meatballs, rice, hot dogs, and some bacon pepper pizza. The kids weren't thrilled. One asked for a hot dog swap if she didn't like the pizza, and they ended up picking and choosing like it was a questionable buffet. Stephanie defended it as hating food waste, which is fair in theory, but in a tiny motel room with zero ventilation, the smells alone, curry mingling with hot dogs and pizza grease, must be overwhelming. And right after dinner, she announces showers because the hot water's back on, all on a school night. Imagine trying to wind down and sleep in that steamy, odor-filled space. It's not just unhygienic, it's a sensory overload for young kids who need stability to thrive. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern where nutrition takes a back seat to whatever's convenient.
Oh man, like I just cut that out because I was trying not to cuss and I did it again. Like, I'm not redoing it. I seasoned this with the basics, onion powder, garlic powder, this garlic and herb, and a little bit of ketchup. I felt like ketchup needed to go in here for whatever freaking reason. I could not find the black pepper. I scooched everything to one side because I wanted these eggs to cook kind of slowly just on one side, and then I'd flip them in after they got a little bit cooked. And don't even tell me that don't look delicious. It actually turned out really good. You see, I feel with us not knowing like how long this freaking shutdown is gonna last and how it's gonna affect everybody, we all could do to share some of our like go-to struggle meals, or just like what we put together with the ingredients we have on hand, because that might be something we have to do kind of commonly. I should have said routinely, but commonly, whatever. Yo, my heart is breaking for people that are disabled, that lost all of their benefits, and they like have no way of getting themselves food. What about like elderly people that relied on that resource? I get that I'm not a wordsmith, but my heart goes out to people. I appreciate you guys watching if you made it this far. Bye-bye now.
Leaving the children to fend for preferences in a setup that's far from ideal, but the darkest thread in this tapestry. The treatment of Deshawn, Drew's son from a previous relationship. This poor kid is often sidelined in ways that break your heart. In the leftover video, one of the girls offered her hot dog to Deshawn so she could have pizza instead, and Stephanie captioned it oddly, saying it would have been a yes anyway, maybe because they all know she hates waste. Why over-explain? Probably because the internet's noticed the disparities. Deshawn's frequently hiding on the top bunk, avoiding the camera due to custody rules that prohibit filming him. But instead of giving him space to roam freely, he's confined, cropped out, or blurred in clips. Rumors suggest he's treated differently. No second helpings, restricted food access at the motel, even shocked when offered a donut elsewhere. It's not just about camera shyness, it's emotional isolation in his own home. while the other kids are front and center in content. Deshawn's presence feels like an afterthought.
Do I think that Stephanie and Drew are using illicit substances that isn't just weed? Yes, I do. I believe that. I don't necessarily believe that was always the case. I think when they first went viral, I actually don't think Stephanie was using anything else. But when it comes to the health status of the kids, I, one, don't believe kids should be primary content, which in this case they are. And two, yes, we may think that they're using illicit substances. Should anybody using illicit substance have possession of their kids while using? Probably not.
An inconvenience to the narrative. This isn't resilience. It's a red flag waving furiously, begging for someone to notice how one child's needs are being overshadowed by the family's online persona. Circling back to the Drew obsession, it's worth unpacking the layers of insecurity and deflection here. Those posted DM screenshots, they're not just jealous rants. They're a window into a relationship strained by public scrutiny. Stephanie's emphatic declarations that she's not leaving, that outsiders should stay in their lane, come across as defensive armor. She details how their first meetup was kid inclusive because plans for Deshawn fell through, how they've navigated without breaks. It's raw, sure, but it begs the question, why broadcast this instead of addressing the kids' crises? Drew's past, cheating, financial woes, co-parenting feuds with Arlita and Desiree, paints him as more liability than asset. Yet she's framing him as coveted, perhaps to boost her own narrative or mask vulnerabilities. Humor aside, it's tragic because while she's guarding against imaginary threats, real ones like custody challenges loom large. Her toddlers aren't worried about DMs. They need consistency, not content about daddy's admirers.
Right, and I think that's maybe where we should full stop it. But when we get into the territory of looking at kids who could potentially have health issues, we are not doing the kids who are already victims in the situation any favors by guessing at what could be potentially wrong with them. My only input is that I think all children should be getting well child checkups by a medical doctor and be seen by them, and the same is true for their kids, right? I hope that their kids can go to the doctor and get the care that they need. And, can substances potentially, cause harm to a child in utero? Of course, right? We all know that. But that may not be the case here, and I don't think it's fair of us to question or guess at that. I think at the end of the day, it should just be, I hope that Stephanie and Drew get the help that they need, and I hope that the kids can get the care that they deserve. And that's it.
The medical about face deserves more scrutiny, too. Remember when Stephanie shut down questions about her daughter's eye issue, insisting it was private and she'd handle it? She was adamant about not prying into medical matters, citing awareness, but refusing updates. Now, it's a floodgate of details, lengthy pediatrician calls, appointment recaps, all shared eagerly. The shift coincides suspiciously with backlash over alleged neglect. Rumors of no doctor visits since 2021 fueled the fire. Viewers see it as reactive, not proactive, like she's building a defense reel. If there was a consistent track record pre-scrutiny, this wouldn't feel so staged. It's a classic case of social media forcing accountability, but at what point does it become performative? The kids' well-being shouldn't hinge on viral pressure. It should be innate. This flip exposes how external noise dictates internal actions, turning health into headlines rather than habit.
Stephanie Jenkins just said that the reason why she's not going to buy or rent an Airbnb at first, she was saying because there's not a lot of options. But then she put a screenshot and she had like 17 options. But to her, that's not a lot. Girl, you're living in a shoe. But not just that. Then she's making the excuse that her kids, if they were to stay in a fully furnished like Airbnb, they would tear it apart. That is, my dog wouldn't even tear apart the furniture. How are you going to say your kids are like untrained and unable to live on furniture? Really? I don't believe it. I call BS. Like, I do not believe Stephanie Jenkins saying that her kids are going to tear apart that furnished house. I think it was like a 3-bedroom or whatever. She's running out of ideas because she doesn't want to pay. Like, I really wish you would just own up to it. To say that your kids are gonna just like break and tear things apart just really talks bad about them, and I'm not for that. Like, just say you don't want to.
Food scenarios paint an even starker picture of daily disarray. That leftover night wasn't a cozy family meal. It was a mishmash of week-old Sri Lankan fare, day-old meatballs, rice, hot dogs, and pizza, all reheated in a confined space. Kids negotiating swaps, one opting for hot dog over pizza, offering hers to Deshawn, highlights picky eating amid questionable options. Stephanie's no-waste stance is admirable in a vacuum, but combined with poor ventilation, the room becomes a cauldron of lingering odors, from spicy curry to greasy pizza, all on a Tuesday school night, then showers immediately after, adding steam and soap scents to the mix. It's sensory chaos for children needing calm to rest. This isn't occasional, it's emblematic of nutrition shortcuts that prioritize convenience over quality. No one faults resourcefulness, but when kids reject meals and the environment amplifies discomfort, it's a cry for better systems.
If I could give advice to Stephanie Jenkins as somebody that grew up with a traumatic childhood, it would be to move to Chicago. I'm pretty positive she's in Portland, and I'm also pretty positive that Portland has a very high homeless population. Chicago is a very large city. There's 2 million people here. Plenty of housing. Plenty of cheap housing. Housing is so inexpensive in Chicago. You could easily find a 4 to 5 bedroom apartment for under $3,000. Go on Zillow, you will see what I'm talking about. I understand she has evictions. I understand that's a difficult situation to be in. But there's also so much housing in Chicago. You can't tell me that it's impossible to find at least one place for you and your 7 kids or however many kids. Like, there's no way there's like 9 of you packed into a hotel room for 10 months. And you think that you're doing the best. And also, what's his face? Drew. Get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Get in your car by 6:30. Uber until 11, 12 o'clock. Barely any traffic because it's the morning.
Deshawn's situation tugs at the heartstrings hardest. Beyond the bunk hiding and camera avoidance enforced by custody stipulations, there are whispers of unequal treatment. No extras at meals, surprise at outside treats like donuts, constant marginalization. In videos, he's an outlier, blurred, cropped, explained away. The hot dog pizza swap caption felt over-justified, as if anticipating criticism. It's not about one moment, it's a pattern suggesting emotional and perhaps nutritional restriction. While siblings shine in content, Deshawn's relegated to shadows, his freedom curtailed for the family's online image.
Get $100 in the morning, go back home, play your PS5, and then get back outside by 7:30. Stay out till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. Boom, you just made $200. You can do that every single day. $200 times 30, what is that? Like $6,000? Plus whatever you're making on TikTok, I'm sure that could cover rent itself. Or even more. I'm just saying, it's not impossible. Y'all are acting like it's impossible. And like, you don't talk to your family, and it doesn't seem like you have any friends. So what's keeping you in Portland? What's keeping you in Oregon or wherever the hell y'all are at? I don't know. It kind of does feel like it's my business, because why do you have all those kids trapped in a room with no choice to leave? Get out of there. I mean, I guess they have dads. But still, your kids could have such a better life. You could get a 4-bedroom apartment, put the 3 older ones in a room, get 2 bunk beds for the other kids, put that in a room, got all your kids in a room together. Y'all can sleep in the living room this time. Do not take the bedroom and force the kids to be in the living room again. Thank God y'all don't have cats. We all know what happened with that.
Disproving it would mean seeking help, therapy, classes, co-parenting strategies, prioritizing healing over hits, the unseen fallout, kids bearing dysfunction's weight, Deshawn's hidden, food subpar, privacy invaded, all while Stephanie adapts to critiques, not evolves. doctor posts feel like track covering, chores performative. Unless offline shifts happen, cycles continue. Kids can't advocate. Hopefully someone does. My take, Stephanie's adapting, not improving. Priorities skewed, chaos reigns. Deshawn's plight heartbreaking. What's yours? Comments below. I read them all. What do you think? Is this just extreme burnout or something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want the follow-ups, because trust me, the saga is far from over. Is far